Hello and welcome to the Fit Executive Show, everyone. I'm your host, Arne, and I am absolutely pumped to record this episode today. And I want to start this episode with a little personal story, which is going to be on how I started on social media. So basically, when we were starting Fit Executive Co, or back then it was named Arne Waldner Coaching. In 2020, this was in Berlin, and Grace and I were both living in a one-bedroom bachelor apartment. It was a pretty big one, high ceilings, lots of light. Like it was the top floor, no elevator, no air conditioning. Okay, so if you live in Europe, you gotta be tough. But back then we had a mentor. And this mentor he kind of became very famous on social media, mostly Instagram, and he wanted me to do the same. And I was so shy. I was almost embarrassed to it was unthinkable to grab a camera and hold it in front of my face and just start talking, right? Because now I know it was just fear of being judged. And then, yeah, I didn't want to do it. Grace kept pushing me in front of the camera and like, just open your mouth, just do something, right? And I prepared for hours for a little 1 or 2 minute video. And this is how I got started. It really sucked. It wasn't fun. But this is how I got to this point where I'm now, where I have a beautiful podcast studio, where I have fancy equipment, right, to record this with, and where I'm actually really, really enjoying this, right? So today's episode is all about this concept, okay? Getting your reps in, hitting singles is what I call it, because what I see so many executives and entrepreneurs doing is they make the same mistake, right? They made the same mistake that I almost make, like waiting until everything is perfect before they get started with something. That means waiting for the right moment, right? Waiting for Monday, waiting for next month, waiting for next year. January 1st is when I start. After the vacation is when I start. When the kids are out of the house, right? But let's first renovate the house, right? And then I show the world what I got, right? But in the meantime, they do absolutely nothing with the excuse of, hey, when I get started, I want everything to be perfect, right? I want to go all in. Okay. So today I want to talk about hitting singles, right? So let's get into it. This is probably one of the most important concepts that I've applied in my own life, both in building my body, my physique, and also building Fit Executive Go, even my marriage, right? And I'm going to talk to you about baseball. I'm going to use a baseball analogy, even though I barely know the rules of baseball. I watched my first World Series when the Toronto Blue Jays were in it, and everybody in Canada was like pretty hyped about this. I think it's one of the only Canadian baseball teams in the major league. But I was glued to the screen, and I actually enjoyed it. Right? We were sitting in an Italian pub, and I had a beer in my hand. This Italian pub had a huge beer selection, and I kind of drank a little bit of Home, one of my favorite German beers that they offered. Not too many places here offer German beer, so I just went in there, watched the game, and I actually got quite hooked on it. And one of the concept that I took away from it is what I'm going to talk about today, because I know enough about baseball to explain this point, or to drive it home, right? And how it applies to everything. You see, nothing in sports feels better than stepping up to the plate and hitting a home run, okay? That moment when you connect perfectly, the ball sails over the fence and you get to take your time rounding the bases while the crowd goes crazy. It's pure euphoria, right? I've never had this feeling, by the way, but I can tell that the guys who are on the field, this is what they feel like when they hit a home run. And it's a good feeling, right? In life, in your business, in your fitness, in any goal worth chasing, we are constantly tempted to look for that home run swing, right? The thing that's going to change everything overnight. The one decision, the one program, the one strategy that's going to undo years of damage in 30 days. Right? And I get it. I've been there. Okay. I'm not judging anybody here. When I was yo-yo dieting for, it was almost 2 years before I figured out what actually worked. But I was doing keto, Whole30, cutting sugar, cutting alcohol, hours of cardio. I was swinging for the fences every single time back then, right? Every new approach was going to be the one where I dropped like 10, maybe 15 pounds. I would feel great about myself. I think I thought I cracked the code. But then slowly, but also inevitably, it would all come back because I'd hit the home run. I burned myself out getting there, and I had nothing left in the tank to sustain it. Okay, so, and that is a trap. And it's one of the most common traps that I also see our clients fall into before they find us, right? They think they have to do it all within a month, right? Redo or undo decades of damage within 3 months, right? I wanna have the results fast. So they do or did some extreme shit. And again, I was there. I'm not judging anybody, but here's how it actually works. Okay, hit singles. Not the flashy stuff, not the dramatic 30-day transformation, not the 6-week shred challenge or the 7-day water fast. Singles. Consistent, boring, sustainable, repeatable actions that compound over time. Okay, the compound effect. I think Albert Einstein said something. If people know what did he say? Let me actually look this up here. I can do that later. But look up what Albert Einstein said about the compound effect. Either you understand it and you use it for you, or you get punished by it. Something like that. Okay, so don't quote me on this. I hope Albert didn't listen from above. So, but let me give you an example from my own journey again. Okay, so when I finally cracked the code on my own transformation, like I dropped 50 pounds of fat while actually adding muscle and keeping my lifestyle intact, that was all within 1 year that I did it. So nothing too extreme, like less than a pound a week, so to say. But it wasn't because I found some extreme protocol. It was the opposite. I found the minimum effective dose, the smallest, most sustainable set of actions that would produce the result that I was going after, right? Consistently doing the boring stuff without burning me out. 2 workouts per week, minimum, right? That was kind of my non-negotiable. I was aiming for 3, but this is what I still do up until today. Our clients do somewhere between 2 and 4 workouts per week, right? 30 to 45 minutes, nothing too extreme, just progressive, intelligent training that's focused on the right exercises in the right order, not grinding. I didn't try to grind myself into the ground, okay? I didn't try to punish my body. I was just showing up consistently and doing the work, okay? That was in the gym. Now, the nutrition, I've discovered what I now call the 5S nutrition framework, okay, that we use. So the 5 S's are like a combination lock: speed and simplicity, right? I don't want you to stand or spend hours each day in the kitchen cooking meals with complex ingredients that you've never heard of before. Then satiety or satisfaction. I want you to be full most of the time, right? I don't want you to lay in bed at night feeling hungry. It should feel doable. You shouldn't suffer or it shouldn't feel like you're dieting. Then also social flexibility, that's the 4th S. You want to be able to enjoy food with others, right? Whether that's your family or your clients. And then super tasty. So what we do here is we build your nutrition system around your favorite foods instead of telling you to cut out the cake, cut out the chips, cut out the pasta, cut out the bread, right? If it's not sustainable because you enjoy these things, then it's not going to give you results that last. So Shouldn't feel like you're dieting. It shouldn't feel like you're suffering, right? It should be a system that you can actually live with. This was my aha moment when I figured this out. Okay, I'm does no one cares if I can do this for 3 months, right? What does a fourth and the fifth month look like? So it's an infinite game that we are all playing here. Whether that's in business, whether that's in fitness, the only goal here of this game is to keep playing. Okay, so one. We need a system that we fall in love with, a new normal, so to say, right? One that lets me go out for client dinners and enjoy beer with my friends and eat at restaurants while I'm traveling, right? And I still made progress week after week after week. So that's what hitting singles look like, okay? And when you hit enough singles consistently over enough time, this is when you win the championship. Every time, okay? Now, where most people get this wrong is, and I don't want to be really direct about this, is not all singles are created equal. Okay, you might think you're hitting singles because you're you're going to the gym 3 times a week and you're eating healthy, right? But if the strategy is wrong, if you're doing the wrong exercises, following outdated nutrition advice, or just guessing based on what you read on the internet, like, then you're running the bases in the wrong direction, right? You're putting in the effort, burning the time and the energy, and not getting the result. And I see this constantly, like guys who are working harder than I am at the gym, sweating their asses off. Right, going circuit after circuit after circuit, almost no break, really dripping in sweat. And they do these high intensity interval trainings, 7 days a week. Okay, they work hard. They work much harder than I do, and then they look at me doing my sets, resting properly for like minimum 2 minutes. Okay, between sets, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 minutes. Training with precision, going each set like with intensity, taking it very close to a failure, right? As soon as my form breaks down, I stop, but or before my form breaks down, I stop. But I'm pushing very hard, okay? So when I actually work, I work. And when I rest, I rest. And they think, man, this guy must just have great genetics, right? No. I have the right strategy, okay? And here's what I know after coaching hundreds of executives and entrepreneurs through real body transformations. The guys who out-effort everyone else but can figure out why they are not getting results are almost never lazy. They are almost never undisciplined. I mean, think about it. The people we work with, they've built businesses, they've raised families. You gotta have a ton of discipline and willpower to do all of that stuff, right? To get it, make it successful. So discipline is not your problem usually, right? They just don't have the right system. They don't know which singles to hit. And this is exactly why we built our, we call it the Pareto performance workout system, okay? This is what we use inside of the Fit Executive method. And we've built it around one single core principle. So for those of you who don't know who or what the Pareto principle is, it's also known as the 80-20 rule. Because there was a guy named Vilfredo Pareto, okay, Italian economist over 100 years ago. And he wasn't only an economist, he was also growing beans in his spare time, okay, bear with me. One day he was looking at his harvest and he was like, interesting. 20% of my plants carried 80% of the fruit, the beans on it, right? And then he looked at the economy and he was like, whoa, interesting. 20% of the people own 80% of the land, and 20% of the roads carry 80% of the traffic. And then 20% of the times throughout the day, those roads carry 80% of the traffic, right? So we call that rush hour. So he basically stumbled upon this natural law that determines that a minority of your inputs is responsible for a majority of your outputs, okay? So it's roughly 80-20, sometimes it's 90-10, sometimes it's 70-30. And we use this principle in everything that we do. But it basically says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions, okay? So let's identify those 20%, right? That is a smart way. And then let's build your entire approach around it and eliminate everything else that is just noise. Okay. Again, 2 to 4 sessions per week, 30 to 45 minutes, customized to your anatomy, to your schedule, to your goals, to your equipment. Like, it doesn't really matter whether you're at home or in a hotel gym or at your regular gym, right? We figure out the exact singles that matter for your specific body and for your specific goal. And that's what we do consistently until the results become like inevitable, right? And that is a concept that I want to introduce here, that I call the minimum effort required, right? It sounds counterintuitive, especially for high achievers who are wired to go all in. And many of you are almost addicted to the hustle, right? Addicted to hard. It has to be hard, otherwise it's not worth it. But the truth is, the goal is not to maximize effort. The goal is to maximize results, right? With a minimum sustainable input. Because if the input is not sustainable, if it requires you to be in a constant state of sacrifice and suffering and white knuckling, then it will end, right? Maybe in 30 days, maybe in 90, but it will end. And when it ends, you go right back to where you started. And this happened to me. This is painful. This is frustrating. This cycle of getting results and then losing them, getting results and then losing them, right? For years and years and years. Like, I've done this. You don't need to repeat my mistakes, okay? I've watched this happen with clients who came to us, like after they tried everything. Like guys who are sharp, successful, driven, like who have the discipline to run a company and manage a team and close $1 million deals, but who couldn't crack the code of their own body because their approach, every approach that they've tried was a home run swing that burned them out, right? Perfect example here, our client Oliver. He was an IT entrepreneur, father of 3, had lost over 20 pounds 3 separate times in his life and gained it back every single time. Not because he lacked discipline, because every method he used was unsustainable. Okay, it required too much sacrifice, too much restriction, too much friction with his actual life, right? And when he started working with us, we didn't ask him to overhaul everything. We were not looking for this 180-degree U-turn. We built a system around his life, his schedule, his food preferences, his travel patterns, his family commitments, right? We identified his singles, and then we helped him hit them consistently. And he dropped below his goal weight, built a completely new relationship with food and with fitness. And now, in his words, he doesn't just survive the day, he dominates it. Okay, this is what he said. And this is what hitting the right singles consistently does over time. Okay. Let me give you a very practical framework. So 3 questions I want you to ask yourself right now, okay? Whether you're walking your dog, whether you're at the gym right now, whether you're driving your car, it doesn't really matter, okay? Question number 1. Do you know exactly what you want? Not a vague goal, right? Not I want to get in shape or I want to lose some weight. A very specific and compelling vision that you have for yourself, okay? You want to know the number on the scale, your body fat percentage, the amount of pull-ups you can do, right? The way you want to look and feel, what other people say about you, the energy level that you want to operate at. The man you want to see in the mirror. Does he have a 6-pack, an 8-pack, a V-shape, like veins on his biceps, right? Round shoulders who pop out. What is the vision? Like, be very specific, okay? Because you cannot hit singles if you don't know which direction the home plate is, right? So to say. So that is question number 1. Do you actually know what you're aiming for? And if not, get very clear on this. Write it down. Think in ink, okay? Question number 2. Do you have the right strategy? Are the actions you're taking actually the ones that are going to produce your results, right? Or are you just doing what you think you should be doing based on what you read online or what has worked for someone else, or maybe worked when you were 20 years old and when you had a lot more time on your hands, right? No responsibility, different testosterone levels, less stress in your life, and so on and so forth, right? So the fastest way to answer this question, honestly, is to look at your results over the last 6 to 12 months, okay? If you're not making consistent progress, the strategy needs to change, right? And yeah, again, the strategy needs to change, not necessarily your level of effort. Okay, so this is another thing. Then, question number 3, is it sustainable? We use the what we call the CWL rule. Can I do it? Do I want to do it for the rest of my life? Okay. Can you even do this for the next 5 years? Can you do this while running your company, while traveling for business, attending your kids' events, entertaining clients? And if the answer is no, if it requires you to opt out of your life to maintain the program that you're on, then this is not a system for you. It's just a crash diet with a fancier name, okay? At Fit Executive Co., every single thing we build for our clients passes the CWL rule, passes this test, so to say, right? The training is designed to fit busy executive schedules, like 2 hours a week maximum, adaptable to any environment. The nutrition is built around the 5 S's I've mentioned earlier, right? So it integrates into your real life instead of replacing it, right? And the accountability system adjusts in real time as your schedule changes, as you're traveling, as as things come up, life gets crazy, right? Because life doesn't pause for your transformation. We're not asking you to become a different person with a different life. We're building a system that works for the person you already are, with the life you already have, okay? And I want to close with this because it's something that I think about a lot. 75% of lottery winners, if you Google this, right, they file for bankruptcy within a few years of winning the lottery, winning the jackpot. They hit the ultimate home run. They went from nothing to millions overnight, and they lose it all again because they never built the foundation. They never built the habits, the identity, the financial discipline and knowledge, the systems, right, that allow someone to sustain that level of success. And the same thing happens in fitness. Guys who crash diet their way to dramatic transformation and then gain it all back and then some, right? We all know these people. Maybe you were one of them. I was one of them. They hit the home run without ever learning how to hit singles, without ever building the sustainable system that makes the result permanent. And the guys who win long term in business, in health, in life, they are the ones who fall in love with the process of getting 1% better every day. Okay? The boring stuff. They are the ones who show up consistently, who hit their singles, who learn from their strikeouts, and they keep stepping back to the plate, right? And that's how I built my body. That's how Grace and I built Fit Executive Co. From 0 clients in Germany in 2020 to coaching hundreds of executives across North America. One single at a time. This is how I built the podcast. One episode at a time, okay? If you're ready to stop swinging for the fences and start building something that actually lasts, then basically, if you want a proven system built specifically for busy executives and entrepreneurs who don't have time for trial and error, then please go to fitexecutive.co. Just book a call with my team, okay? We figure out exactly what singles you need to be hitting for your specific body, your specific goals, your specific lifestyle, and then we build the system to make sure you hit them consistently, okay? Whether you work with us or not, after this call is up to you. You will walk away with a couple of tactical takeaways that you can implement right away. If you do work with us, awesome, you're in the best hands. We've done this many, many times. The thing is, we only work with a limited number of clients at a time. So this is a premium concierge level service for guys who are serious about getting the best results available. So if that is you, don't wait, okay? And if this episode resonated with you, then please share it, send it to the Yeah, send it to someone, right, in your world who's been grinding without getting the results they deserve. And it might be exactly what they need to hear today. Okay. I will see you on the next one.